suppose we can all be seated.
So I'll start this meeting off by saying I'm honored and privileged to be presenting to you the 2022 to 2026 term of Welland City Council.
Thank you, Tara. And it's my privilege and honor to introduce Jackie Labonte, who's going to do the opening smudging for us in Thanksgiving. Jackie?
I'll have the medicines burning here as I offer these words then. And I say, ja, så var det så. Vi kan ju därför så klart så hårda och alla det för afterall and the harder day we're going to pull on. We bring our minds together and offer this gratitude that everyone has come together. And it seems that everyone's in a good place. You got here on your own two legs here, and I see a lot of smiles. So we acknowledge that the Creator has opened up your path for you to be here this evening for this special gathering. And so for that, we offer up that gratitude for all of the energy that you bring, all of those gifts that you bring here this evening. And so we bring our minds together and turn to the east for the gift of enlightenment. It opens our minds, removing the poisons that sometimes creeps in, replacing it with clarity and honesty. We turn to the south for the direction of renewal, innocence and rebirth that teaches us we all can start life anew. We turn to the west for the gift of introspection so that we might reflect and act on that which comes from the center of our souls. We turn to the north for the gift of wisdom that teaches us to have faith and trust in all living things and nurtures our own gift of wisdom. We say Nyawa Miigwech, thank you so much for all of the animals who teach us about perseverance and joys of being silly. We say Nyawa Miigwech, thank you to the elders who teach us that all negative things, hatred, greed, prejudice, envy, these are all products of fear, and by walking this good road, we can cast those aside. So with our minds together as one, we say Nyawa so for each new day with its gifts of love and knowledge. Donato. Thank you. It's been my honor to do this for this evening.
Thank you, Jackie, for those words and for the ceremony as well. Appreciate you coming out. I'm now honored to read the land acknowledgement with my glasses on. We are honored and grateful to be gathering on the treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of First Nations such as the Hattawandurunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Welland today. We stand with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live, and we're grateful to be able to share these lands with the people who were here first. So thank you for that. Now, I guess before I get too far into it, we are starting our meeting, and so welcome everyone to our ceremonial meeting, our inaugural meeting. I appreciate you all coming out, and I hope you enjoy this evening. I will now ask Laura Babanco and Stacey McIntyre to do a rendition of O Canada. And if you're able, please rise and join us in the national anthem.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong. stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, that was quite special. Thank you so much for that. Those of you who don't know, Laura Babank was one of the clerks here with the City of Welland, so appreciate you doing that for us as well. I now ask Reverend Father Raymond Finnick Gonzi, St. Mary's, I just call him Father Raymond, so I don't know his last name. Ask him to please proceed with the invocation. Father, thank you for joining us.
Before I start, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the re-elected mayor, Mr. Frank Campion, the re-elected councillors, and also the new councillors. Congratulations. Let us gather our thoughts in a moment of silence in prayer. We pray that God, our Father, Lord of heaven and earth, may inspire this council to lead and serve with wisdom and compassion in meeting the needs of the people they serve. We pray for all those who are elected to govern. May God's justice be in their hearts and guide their decision-making in working for the common good rather than personal gain. For elected and appointed officials, may God work through their efforts to create a more just society, foster a spirit of understanding and forgiveness, to overcome divisions among all people. For all who hold political power, may God grant them strength in working to protect the dignity and life of every person, woman or child, man, no matter how old or how young, no matter what race or creed. For our elected and local leaders in authority, may God guide them in governing with integrity, with special attention toward the powerless and the vulnerable, especially for the poor and the suffering. For those entrusted with fiscal responsibility, and for all who oversee budgets and finances, may God give them the wisdom to be good stewards and the strength to act with honesty. As we stand together here to inaugurate the 2022 newly elected City Council, let us seek to continue to make Welland worthy of all our fellow citizens. Let us work tirelessly to build a city defined by respect, honor, inclusion, responsibility, and kindness to all. May God bless our mayor and the city councillors of Welland. Amen.
Thank you, Father. That was very inspirational as well. I could have used most of that for my inaugural address, but I'll have to leave some of that out. I now would ask the Honorable Justice of the Peace, His Worship, Mr. Brett Kelly, to go through the declaration of oath. So I'll ask all of council to please stand.
Congratulations to all of you on your elections and re-elections, and on your future accomplishments that you will endeavor. I was councillor once myself, and I know how rewarding this is, and I'm excited for all of you. So if you would please repeat after me and say your name. I being elected or appointed to the office
having been elected or appointed to the office
of councillor,
of councillor
of mayor, in the municipality of the city of Welland,
in the municipality of the city of Welland,
do solemnly promise and declare
do solemnly promise and declare
that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially
that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially
exercise this office
exercise this office
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
I have not received
I have not received
and will not receive
and will not receive
any payment or reward
any payment or reward
or promise thereof
or promise thereof
for the exercise of this office
for the exercise of this office
in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner.
in biased, corrupt, or any improper manner.
I will disclose any pecuniary interest,
Disclose any pecuniary interest,
direct or indirect,
direct or indirect,
in accordance with
in accordance with
the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
I will be faithful
I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to His Majesty King Charles III.
to His Majesty King Charles III.
And I make this solemn promise
And I make this solemn promise
and declaration
and declaration
conscientiously, believing it to be true,
believing it to be true,
and knowing that it is of the same force and effect
and knowing it is the same force and effect
as if made under oath.
as if made under oath.
Congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. We have this ongoing conversation about calling each other Your Worship all the time. Now comes my honor to do a brief inaugural address this evening. And I'll begin by, first of all, thanking the community, the residents of Welland, for using wise decision-making, for researching, for understanding, and for knowing their civic duty in voting in this election, and for selecting candidates that I'm sure they contemplated the benefits of voting for and against, and making these decisions, again, I believe very conscientiously. So, we had a very low turnout, and it's somewhat sad to see that happen, but it is what it is. But I encourage everyone to try to encourage their friends, neighbors, relatives, anybody that's of voting age to please vote. It's important because these are the people now who are going to make the decisions on behalf of the entire community, and people should be putting the input into it. And I think they did, and I think they've made some very wise decisions with this council. So good evening and welcome to this inaugural meeting of Welland City Council. Bonsoir et bienvenue à cette réunion inaugurale du Conseil municipal de Welland. I should point out that Brett also speaks fluent French, so he'll be nudging me or commenting later. To begin with, I would like to thank and commend all candidates who put their names forward to serve the residents of Welland. It's a big decision to put your name forward for a variety of reasons. The first thing that people need to do when they put their name forward is have a true interest in promoting good stewardship of our municipality and ensuring that they're doing things that will benefit all residents of the city of Welland, and not for personal gain, but for the people of Welland. And I believe we have a council or have had candidates who did that. The other thing is when you run for council, and it's becoming more and more difficult as time goes by, but you put your name up and you are putting yourself up to public scrutiny. And a lot of people, I think, shy away from running because it can be a frightening experience. So again, I commend everybody for putting their names on the line, taking the initiative and running and rerunning in the election. So I really appreciate the fact that it's not a simple decision to decide to run, and when you make that decision, you really have a lot of responsibilities and issues that you need to deal with. So congratulations to everybody that put their names forward. I'd also like to thank those who will not be returning to council. Councilors Mastriani and LaRouche served the community well in the past term and accomplished a lot. And I should add to that both of those councilors are long-term councilors who have been on serving several terms of council previous to the last one. I did see Councilor LaRouche come in the door. I don't know that I saw Councilor Mastriani, but Jimmy's way at the back there. I don't know, Jim, if you want to stand up and wave or come and say hello. If you would like to make a couple comments, please come up to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, I'd like to say that you may not always be judged by your loss, but you will always be judged by your response. My response, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank staff for the years of collaboration, working together. So, Mr. Zorbas, if you could please pass that on to staff, that it was a privilege and an honor to serve the community. I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for all your support and all the constituents and residents of Welland that supported me over the years. So with that, I wish you all good health and prosperity and good luck the next term. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you for that, and I will mention it's not typical for a mayor to do this during the inaugural address, but we were unable to get to those things at the last council meeting, so I wanted to make sure that we gave Jim an opportunity to do that. I also would like to welcome our new councilors, Councilor Sharmila Betaram and Councilor Jamie Lee. Welcome back, and I'd also like to welcome back the numerous returning councilors. It's going to be a very interesting term, and I'm glad to see that we have some dedicated people here who worked hard to get here and worked hard to get back here, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you as we move forward. I'd also like to thank staff for their support and dedication to the City of Welland. Staff, there are multiple components, but two major components to governance or government. There's the governors or the governance people who are the councilors that you elect, and then there are the people that enact and enable who are the staff. And without both of those groups working together, virtually nothing gets done. So it's very important that, and I do want to thank all of staff for all of the help that they've given me over the past 8 years as mayor. When I was first elected in 2014, I came in as a councilor, became mayor, and faced with challenges of being a mayor. And I can tell you that it was really important to have staff that support you. And so I always appreciate the support that I received from staff and of course from clerk's department and Tara in particular. She's sort of my right-hand person here. And a very brief story, my youngest daughter, Lisa, is a clerk in a town called Erin. And she used to watch me on TV as a councilor and then as a mayor for years, most of her life actually. One time she said to me, who's that lady beside you that, tells you what to do? And I said, that's the clerk. And she said, that's the kind of job I want. It's a person that can tell the mayor what to do. So it's great to have great, great staff here. The previous council, in partnership with staff, succeeded on many fronts, including significant economic growth, job creation, capital investment in business and industry. I can't guarantee these numbers, but in excess of 750 jobs were either retained or created through development or through investment in our community. And last count is probably over 1.5 million square feet of new industrial and commercial space. That's a significant amount of growth. And it's important for our community because it creates jobs, it creates wealth, and it also creates increased tax base on the industrial commercial side, which helps to offset costs being always allocated to the homeowner. As well, record-breaking investments in infrastructure like roads, sewers, sidewalks, water, parks, paths, splash pads, playgrounds, docks, free concerts, festivals, and so much more. This council that is leaving and coming in now, did a lot for this community. And if you put it all on paper, it's extraordinary. And it surpasses what most, if not all, area municipalities have done. So we really need to celebrate and recognize that there were tremendous accomplishments that a lot of people don't recognize, don't see, don't understand. So it has been significant. This gives us a great foundation for what this council will be doing as we move forward. It's a continuation of what we've been doing, ensuring that we don't let up and that we continue to grow in that particular manner. So, you know, for what lies ahead of our council and community is founded on some very significant investments and very significant initiatives that this council has taken. So I congratulate council for what the previous council, what they've done and what they've left us to do. Au début de ce nouveau mandat de conseiller, nous aurons de nombreux défis à relever. Ces défis pouvant être relevés avec les résultats positifs. Ce conseil en partenariat avec le personnel et les résidences peut être la source responsable de ces possibilités, mais seulement si nous faisons passer notre communauté avant nous-mêmes. The way forward will present many challenges, which, if we all work together, will convert to opportunity. Remember, every challenge, every problem has a solution. That solution creates an opportunity. We have to embrace that concept of thinking the way we think like that, but also making sure that we recognize and realize it. So there are going to be a lot of issues moving forward. You know, it's not all fun and games being a councilor or mayor. It's a lot of hard work. So, you know, maintaining and enhancing health services at the Welland Hospital site, dealing with provincial growth requirements, stingent provincial planning policies and legislation, which threatens our abilities to control how and where growth happens. A lot of people don't really know that council does have some decision-making authority when we get to planning issues, but it has to be has to meld in or work with provincial policy. When we don't follow provincial policy, we're challenged, and when we're challenged, and if we are found not to be following that provincial policy, more often than not, we will lose in a challenge. So our challenge now is to work with the provincial government to ensure that we can have more authority, or at least not lose authority, because Bill 23 is coming out, and that will have significantly change the landscape of planning in Ontario. So we have a really big job ahead of us to ensure that we work on those issues, because we need to be able to control where and how development happens in our municipalities. So that's going to be a priority for us starting like tomorrow or yesterday. Planning and implementing ways and programs to accelerate the provision of attainable housing for all. And I think that's the best way to describe it. Attainable housing for all means that, you know, we have to sort of stop using the word affordable, because affordable doesn't mean anything, or it means something different to everybody. So we need everybody to be able to attain a house, and we've started that process through setting up advisory committees, et cetera. But again, that's going to be a huge challenge for us. We need to be able to control our property taxes. We need to work on the redevelopment of the downtown core. The time is now to work on our downtown core, to enhance it, to develop it. It is a place where intensification can happen without impacting local residential neighborhoods. It's also a place where, if we have people living downtown, it generates more businesses downtown, which is a benefit to all of us to have a thriving downtown, but also having housing in the core area. We need to work with our partners on homelessness and addiction. We've been doing that for several years now, and we are going to continue to do that, and we have multiple partners that we work with in order to make that happen. So it's an ongoing issue, ongoing problem, but it also has solutions, and we need to work hard to work with those partners to come up with those solutions. We need to create policies and take action to ensure Welland is sustainable on all fronts, including dealing with climate change. Climate change is, I won't say it crept up on us, but it's happening, and we see it through flooding, we see it through drainage issues, we see it through a variety of different things that will impact an awful lot of development and a lot of land use within our community. So we need to protect ourselves. And, you know, it used to be you plan on the 100-year storm, which was Hurricane Hazel, which happened before I was born, fortunately. But it's something that we need to recognize that the numbers are changing, the things are shifting, so we have to be ready for that. And it can be done through proper planning, good stewardship of the lands. We also need to inspire our youth, and I think this is something that is critical for the success of Welland. We need to inspire the youth that there's something here for you. There's lots here for you. We have a lot of youth coming through our community through the schools. We have French language schools. We have a college. We are close to a university. We can inspire the youth to want to participate in the city of Welland. And I think that's how we get higher voter turnouts. We get people involved from an early age. I have gone to classrooms where in grade schools and in high schools presenting on, you know, what is civics and what does a mayor do? And it's enlightening because they have a lot of questions and they learn something from that. And it's important, I think, from a very early age for people to understand that they have a responsibility in the development of their community, programming, et cetera. So we need to inspire our youth to participate, and we will continue to do that. Also, continue aggressive approach to economic development, job creation, and prosperity. This is something that is ongoing for us. We daily get requests for land, we get requests for commercial space. This is something, again, that helps us to offset taxes to a different tax base, also creates jobs and opportunities for our residents. So this is just a small sample of what we need to do and how we're going to be moving forward. So what we really need to do is look at, you know, how does council, our staff, our community, and upper levels of government meet these challenges? And it's a partnership. It has to happen. It's not one person, it's not three people, it's not one level of government, it's everybody has to participate. We've been successful in engaging upper levels of government, and we need to continue to do that. So it's a tall order, but we can succeed and we will succeed. So how do we make this happen? We as council and staff work together as a cohesive, highly focused team that is task-oriented and driven by need to succeed on behalf of the residents of Welland. It sounds like a mouthful, but it's meaningful. We need to work together everybody needs to work together, and we need to ensure that what we're doing is focused on what we should be doing and what we need to do. If we don't focus on what we're going to succeed on, we won't be able to succeed because we're going somewhere without a map. So I'm encouraging all of us to work together to make sure that we get what we need and what we want. You know, we as councillors, we as politicians, you know, we have to focus on the task at hand and put behind us our political desires, our political wishes. Our political wish should be to make sure that we get what we need for our residents well, and council can and has done that. So as council and staff, we need to work within a culture of trust and partnerships. That's what makes things work. It always does. Historically, it does. You can read about it. We must work as a team, not under the illusion or reality of we have to work as a team and not under the illusion or reality of an A and B team. There's only one team, and that's Team Welland. We need to put the barriers down and work together and make sure that we get things to happen. Nous vous remercions de vous joindre à nous et nous sommes tout heureux de pouvoir vous servir au cours des 4 prochaines années. So thank you for joining us as we all look forward to serving you over the next 4 years. I see great success. I see great endeavors happening. We will get there, we will work together, and we will make Welland the best city in Canada to live in. So thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to, let's carry on, work together. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, moving on our agenda, we message from the city clerk. That would be you, Tara.
Thank you, Mayor Campion, for the opportunity to speak this evening. So welcome new term of council. I just wanted to take a moment to thank a number of individuals and departments who assisted with the election that recently happened, as you know. As you may be aware, the city clerk of the municipality is responsible for conducting municipal elections, but the assistance stems way past the clerk's division. So I wanted to thank the following individuals and departments for their assistance. Our Information Services Department for assisting with technology needs during the past few months to ensure all information regarding the results and information for candidates and electors was available on our website. Our engineering team for assisting with maps for our candidates. The Finance Division with assisting with ensuring funding and accounts were set up for election purposes and assisting with payment to our election workers. Our Human Resources Division, who assists with the contracts for our election workers, stepping in to assist with performing marriage ceremonies and other related matters for election workers. Our park staff for placing the coming soon polling location signage around the city of Welland at all of our polling locations. Our custodial staff for assisting in setting up the rooms and removing of the garbage and recycling as we prepared for the election. Our bylaw enforcement staff for assisting with enforcing the election signs bylaw. Our communications staff for ensuring the candidates and electors were aware of everything related to the election. Our communications team developed videos, aired podcasts, and prepared information for everyone to view and listen to. The CAO for the ongoing support to proceed through the course of the election. To our election staff, thank you for assisting in running the election. I am thankful to the wonderful volunteers and city staff that we had. It was a privilege to work with all of them. To the clerk staff, and as I call them, my clerkette team, for ensuring that clerk operations continued throughout the course of the election and assisting with any matters required in relation to the election. Some of you may be aware we had an election worker trainer. Her name was Mary, and an IT support. His name was Xander. These two individuals worked with me and the election coordinator to ensure training was provided in a timely manner, provided support on advanced poll days and voting days, their voting day, as well as provided information from their experience with all matters related to the elections. Lastly, the election coordinator, Karen Bless. It has been an honor to work with Karen throughout the course of this election. Karen brought a lot of experience to the department when she joined the team, and I am so grateful for all of her hard work, dedication, and assistance with ensuring that the 2022 municipal election was successful. I couldn't have done it without her. And to all those I have mentioned, and I apologize if I have missed anyone, but I want to thank you all for your assistance to ensuring that the 2022 municipal election was a success. And again, to the 2022-2026 term of Welland City Council, congratulations, and I look forward to working with you over the next 4 years. And thanks again, Mayor Campion, for this opportunity to speak.
Okay, we actually do have some business to do this evening as well. So I'm going to go to the clerk to introduce a bylaw.
So the bylaw is a bylaw to appoint Leo Van Vliet as vice mayor for the period of November 15th, 2022 to March 31st, 2023.
So I look to council for a mover and seconder for the first, second, and third reading of that bylaw. Moved by Councillor Kyokyo and seconded by Councillor Moot. I'll ask you to vote by raising your hands. All in favor? That motion is carried. That's the only bylaw. Well, we have another bylaw at the end, but that's okay. I'll move on. So, recognition of outgoing councillors. I have already done that in my inaugural address. And again, thank you, Jim, for coming out. I don't see Councillor Mastriani, but I also thank him for his hard work as well. I'll now move on to introducing of regional councillors. I must tell you that I'm very happy that we have the two regional councillors coming back. It was a great team. They contributed a lot for our municipality, but also contributed a lot at the regional government by chairing committees and sitting on committees and doing some really, really good work. So I'll ask you to please stand. So we've got Regional Councillor Pat Kyokyo. Thank you. And Regional Councillor Liana Villela. So thank you very much for coming out and looking forward to seeing you guys on the 24th. Probably not, but we'll be there anyway. Okay, thank you. So we did have the Honorable Jeff Birch, MPP for the City of Welland, was going to speak. I got a telephone call from him mid-afternoon that he was stuck in traffic in Toronto, then had to pull over for a radio interview. I don't know if it had anything with him being ejected from the legislature, but I don't think that was the item for today. But he does pass on his regrets for not being able to be here and wishes everyone well. Introduction of former mayors and guests. So I did see former Mayor Dick Reuter stroll in a little bit late. Dick, are you still here out there somewhere? Okay. So myself, Dick, and Councillor Van Vliet were all elected to the same first council. We were all first councillors back in 1990, I think, 1991. So thanks for coming out, Dick. I didn't see Barry Sharp come in. Barry, if you're here, you're not. Okay. All right. So move on to special guests. So obviously I'll just mention them again. But Father Raymond, thank you so much for coming out. Your special guest. You don't have to stand up. You already stood up at the front. Justice, His Worship, Mr. Brett Kelly. I noticed there's a typo on my sheet here. I don't know who typed it, so I'm not insulting anybody, but if I read it, it would be Justice of the Peach.
It's not bad.
It's been worse, right? Exiting a courtroom, you've heard worse than that. Councilor Jackie Labonte, thank you so much again for coming out to do our smudge for us. And it's not the same without Morgan Stanford here, our bagpiper. So thank you, Mr. Morgan, for coming out again. He was here last year, and certainly appreciate your expertise in bagpiping. So thanks. Maybe a round of applause for our special guests. And I must say that I did spill a little bit of the liquid from the cup on my sheet here, so I got a few smudges on here. But I know she didn't miss a drop. Good for you. So now I'm going to ask council to introduce their guests. I'll start with myself, and then we'll go around the chamber, starting with Councillor Van Vliet. So I'm going to ask you to please introduce your guests. My guests are my daughter, Melissa Campion, my wife, Elizabeth Campion, also known as Lisa Campion, also known as Liz Campion. My brother and sister-in-law, Joe and Rosemary Horvat, are here. Mickey and Gino Chichone, my wife's cousins, and now through marriage, my cousins, are here from Brampton. So thank you for making the trip down. I didn't see Augie Mate, but he was supposed to be one of my guests, and Roman and Shelley Grahowski. So thank you for joining me for this great event. So I'll go over to you, Councillor Van Vliet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a few guests. Number one, I guess, is my wife, Ann. She's been my number one supporter and cheerleader for the last 51 years, plus, actually. So, and we also have my son, Ed, here. Ed, could you stand up? My wife, Ann, please stand up. Also, my grandson, Carson, is here. Carson, please stand up. You're tall enough, you can stand up. My granddaughter, Madeline, who was hoping to be our next firefighter here in the city of Welland. My granddaughter, Isabel, Izzy, and my granddaughter, Melissa, or Mackenzie, is here somewhere. There she is. Thank you very much. And my daughter-in-law, Melissa, was going to make it, but unfortunately, work needed her more than we did, so she didn't make it. But thank you.
Yes, thanks, Mayor Campion. With me tonight, I have my mom and stepdad, Debbie and Chris Ames. They're somewhere hiding back there. I'm not sure they'll stand up. I have my lovely wife, Melissa. Unfortunately, my children cannot be here tonight. It's bedtime. And I have my two sisters, Jessica and Spencer. Spencer Bishop, I guess now, and Jessica Wolichka, no longer Moots. And unfortunately, a friend of mine, Calvin Ashby, he was one of my volunteers, and he unfortunately got a fever this afternoon and could not make it. So I just wanted to mention him as well, and thank you all for being here tonight to support me.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Folkens. And I have my husband here, Chris, who has supported me and so much. And he says, this is my last term. And he took all my signs and put them in the recycle box. And I have my oldest friend from Dane City for 60 years is Brenda Wetmore, very essential in helping me canvass in Dane City. I have mobility challenges, and I couldn't have done that area without her. And then I have Kevin Poulin, who is my IT support and my emotional support, and helps me with the signs, and he helped me out as well with the campaign. Two people, Beth Hardy and Phil Emery, couldn't be here tonight. Both are ill, and one has family issues. And their team couldn't be here as well. There's a lot of COVID going around. And again, without those people walking the streets for me in the areas of Ward 6, I don't think I would be here. They were so diligent, and I'm just so grateful. And so thank you to my team and my husband.
Sharmella?
Councillor Setaram here. Physically here in person with me is my mom, Kay Setaram, my dad, Munish Setaram. Thank you for my dad standing up there and waving. Just my older brother, Vito Setaram, and my niece and nephew, Abby and Jack, who've made it out from the trek from Waterdown to join us. And my mom came from Mississauga and my dad from Etobicoke. And my youngest brother, Anand Setaram, who has joined as well and was out on the campaign trail, and I'll get to that a little bit later. And watching online is one of my sisters, Tara Setaram, and my other nephew, Dave Raj Setaram, who was out here in Welland helping along the campaign trail. And one of my middle brothers, Ramesh Setaram, who's out in BC, who's watching us. And from heaven is one of my sisters, Usha Setaram, and so she's here with us in that realm. So thank you to my family for your unwavering support and commitment.
I would like to introduce my husband, who's my biggest supporter over many years. Chris Grimaldi, who's in the back there, with my brother-in-law, Mike, who's also a big supporter of mine. I want to thank all of the residents of Ward 1 who put their faith and their faith and their commitment behind me to put me here one more time. This is, I believe, the 5th time I've been to an inauguration on council, and I truly, wholeheartedly appreciate everyone in Ward 1 who did support me here, my husband, my brother-in-law, my son David, who's on his way here when he finishes work. So thank you, everybody, and thank you for all the support.
Councillor Shark?
Champion for this opportunity. I have a rather large group here tonight. First off, I would certainly like to thank all the residents in Ward 5 and our city who believed and supported me. It's an honor to represent you, and my sincerest thank you. My guests here tonight are all family who gave endless time being my campaign team, my granddaughters and grandchildren. And I'm going to ask them to stand, my daughters first. First attending tonight is daughter Tiffany Richard on the left, Tiffany Richard Rotella, a Western University graduate working with Canada Customs Fort Erie. Tiffany is instrumental in protecting our borders for all of us Canadians, and it has certainly been a difficult year for our customs agents with the challenge of COVID access restrictions. Middle, as always, middle daughter, Tara Richard Hubble, an Ottawa University graduate, and I want to stress all bilingual, working at Fallsview Casino, greeting the VIP guests, and fortunate to have met famous people and television stars. A very hardworking baseball and hockey mom. The youngest of the three daughters, daughter Trina Richard, a very successful and hardworking business lady owning the Breakfast Barn in Port Colborne. She has won many awards. The future could see her opening another here in Welland. We actually have our economic development looking for a location. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to ask my grandchildren to stand. Again, my grandchildren are all bilingual as well. Jaden Ash, thank you. Jaden Ash, a grade 12 student at Notre Dame School, an amazing interior decorator and great, very hardworking staff member in her mother's business. Sometimes I feel the boss. Grandson Chase Hubble, grade 12 student attending St. Jean de Brebeuf French High School. Chase plays hockey with the Welland Tigers, and he is excelling in baseball with the elite team of Bulletproof Baseball. I suggest you get your autograph from Chase now. I also have two grandchildren that were on my campaign team, but they also excel in sports. They were both called away tonight. Chance Hubble, he also is an elite baseball player with the group. And I have Reese Rotella, grade 7 student at Sacré-Cœur. She was pulled away to play soccer tonight. Thank you. Again, I have John Holliday, my life partner of 20 years. Please stand, John. He's also here tonight, doesn't like social events. He has always been my constant support, being very patient and understanding. As we all know as counselors, it can be a bit trying at times, and it certainly affects our personal lives. I thank you for putting up with that. He was also my sign manager this term and my last term. And every time he threatens he is quitting, and again, he claims it will be his last time again. Thank you for your support. I certainly want to acknowledge my brother Ron, who could not attend tonight, also dealing with his own personal health issues. He did not hesitate to support me endlessly, driving his 1930 Model A Ford throughout Ward 5. I'm sure most of Welland has seen it, with magnetic signs of support for me attached, donated by my brother Jeff, who was in attendance tonight as well. His unwavering support was especially helpful when I contacted COVID during my campaign time frame. Speaking of Brother Jeff, he is also here in attendance tonight representing our Rose Cities Legacy Group as past president, along with our hopeful Ryan Nava, who will hopefully be taking on the role. Thank you for attending tonight. In closing, I am very fortunate lady, mother, grandmother, sister, friend, and Ward 5 resident to have experienced such overwhelming support. I thank you. I am humbled, proud, and love each and every one of you. And I thank you for sharing the night with me tonight. Thank you, Mayor Campion.
Thank you. Now I'm going to switch to the other side, and we'll start off with Councillor DeMarco.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Campion. I'll be short and sweet, and especially when I see the guy beside me has got 3 pages. I'd like to introduce, being the 4th time sitting here during this inauguration, I guess maybe some of the family lost a bit of interest, but no. I have my wife here in attendance, Mary. She's put up with me for the last 45 and a half years, so trying to make the best of it. But anyways, our family, our 2 daughters, 2 son-in-laws, and 4 little ones, the 4 grandkids. they have, if they're not at hockey, they're at dancing or they're at Glee Club or they're wherever. So they have prior commitments. And like I said, this is the 4th time around. They've been here, but it's no big deal. But anyways, I'll be short. Like I said, I'd like to also welcome Sharmila and Jamie to council. Look forward to working with you. And I'm just hoping that this council for this term could work together, and not just for your wards, but for the entire city of Welland. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Councillor McLeod.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarification, are we going to do a second round of comments, or are we putting it all together? Because
Hey, this is your one and only opportunity.
I'm glad I asked. So here we go. I got 3 pages, Mr. Mayor. So this evening,
I hope the print is big.
It's very, very small. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank my wife, Tamara. Unfortunately, she's not here this evening. She's at work in California, but tremendous support, and I don't know why she lets me do this, but quite honestly, I couldn't have done it without her. Also, my daughter, Peyton, is not here this evening. She is at University of Guelph, but would send me texts and support on the campaign trail. My folks are at home comfortably in Ward 1 since 1967, and were a big help watching my kids over the years. But my favorite son and my favorite guest is here this evening, and that is Isaac McLeod. So thank you, Isaac, for standing up for the family this evening. When I started this, he was 2, and I used to call him my big little man. Well, now he's 14, and he reminds me quite often that he's just big now. So thank you, Isaac. To my constituents, I'm humbled once again by your faith and confidence in me. Having the public's trust is an incredible privilege of responsibility. I'm grateful for the renewed opportunity to serve you, and I look forward to continuing to build Welland's brightest future. To my departing colleagues, Councillor Rouche and Councillor Mastriani, thank you for your service. You have served with honor and decorum. For that, your city owes you its gratitude. To Councillor Lee and Councillor Sederem, congratulations. Welcome. I look forward to your engagement and contributions at our council meetings. Your experience, knowledge, and skill sets are welcome additions to our council. To my returning council colleagues, congratulations as well. I truly look forward to working with each of you. From my perspective, it's a new day with new possibilities. I personally am approaching this term not just as another 4 years, but rather, what can we accomplish in the next 4 years? I know the more we work together, the more we can achieve collectively. I'm committed to looking for common ground while making the best decisions for Welland's future. Furthermore, we're fortunate to have great staff that are interested in making Welland the best it can be. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to conclude with, let's get to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kyokyo.
Am I on? Oh, I'm on. First of all, I'd like to thank the residents of Ward 3 for bringing me back for the 3rd term. And I believe it is the biggest ward in Welland. When I ran 8 years ago, first time, because it covers the downtown and all Weber Road. So 8 years ago, it was fun. You looked around, there wasn't much development. And then 4 years ago, when you walked down to Weber Road and Coyle Creek area, it was, wow, more houses. And this year is wow, you know, so it's really grown over the last 8 years. And I want to thank staff because this is really, when we talk about partnerships, this is a partnership, and the residents, and I look at it as a triangle. The residents come first, and then council and staff are together, and we direct the city and move it forward. So I want to thank staff for that. I want to thank my new co-councillor in Ward 3, Councillor Sederem. It's going to be exciting working with her, not just for Welland, but also for Ward 3. and we're going to make things happen here downtown over the next 4 years, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to working with her and the rest of council. I want to acknowledge some people here tonight. First of all, my eldest daughter, Taylor, who's here. Thank you, Taylor. And you want to stand up? Or do you just want to wave? So my eldest daughter, Taylor's here, and her son, my grandson, Luca, is at home watching this, or he's watching Paw Patrol. And her husband, Mike, have been, Mike, my son-in-law, have been great supporters. So thank you, Taylor, Mike, and Luca. And soon in February, we'll have a new granddaughter also, so we're looking forward to that. I also want to thank my daughter, Sheldon, and her fiance, Matt, who is right behind her, who've also been big supporters and who walk really fast, and it's hard for me to keep up sometime. So thank you, Sheldon and Matt, for your support. My sister Rena's here tonight, always there pushing me along and wishing the best. So thanks, Rena. And I also have other family members who were behind me working, and friends. And to those friends too who were helping me, I want to thank you. And I want to acknowledge everybody who ran. Running in any election is very difficult. If anybody thinks it's a breeze, it isn't. So there's some candidates who did run here, who are here tonight, to put your name out there with today's world and social media can be very taxing on an individual. So thank you for running, and don't give up. And finally, I want to thank a friend of mine, Brad Ulch, who's here tonight. Brad also ran in this campaign. Brad is a Ward 3 resident. He's a business owner on King Street. He keeps me in line with what happens on King Street, believe me, with the phone calls and all his help. So I appreciate your help, Brad, and for running. And finally, Mayor Campion, looking forward to this next 4 years. I think it's a great council. A lot of great things are going to happen in Welland, and thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Councillor Speck?
Yes, thank you very much. So for those who watch council, they'll be familiar with, I have a point of order here, and I see that item 14, introduction of city council guests, is separate from item 15, which is a brief comment from councillors. And I don't know if that motion was put on the floor or suspension of the rules, a 2/3 count, and if that's actually happening. Your previous answer to Councillor McLeod was that you are combining them. Is that in fact the case?
Yes.
Well, then I will get combining. I'd like to acknowledge my wife first and foremost, Shannon Speck, if she could stand, please, who those in Ward 5 will recognize as my faithful companion along the campaign trail. And once again, walking and knocking on every door here in Ward 5. And I wouldn't be here without her. And so my deepest, sincerest thanks to her effort, both in 2018 and 2014, and now here in 2022. Manning, or I should say womaning the home front there is my daughter, Chloe, who basically ran the shop floor. We have a small business, and Chloe Speck is here tonight with her boyfriend, Andy, and their work either around the house or certainly around the shop and running the business certainly freed us up to do the walking and the time. And last but not least, my mother, who is here tonight, Cheryl Speck, from the Falls. My father always had political ambitions, and thankfully in 2018 he was still here with us and was here in attendance in 2018 to witness the inauguration. So it certainly means a lot to me, and I'm sad that he can't be here, but I'm very grateful that my mother is. During this campaign, there was a time that Councillor Richard and I, that we were almost acclaimed, and it was almost, and then a competitor, another candidate, filed their papers, and so for a brief time there, maybe we were going to slide on in, but no, the race is on, and there's 3 of you and only 2 seats, so get to work. So what turned into what might have been an easy ride wasn't, and I'm grateful for that. And the reason why is that the opportunity to go door to door, the opportunity to meet with constituents, whether that be on their front door, their side door, in an open garage, talking with people, people who took the time to open the doors, people who took the time to converse. And it's not just a matter of hearing problems or issues that they have, it's a matter that they care about their community. All of them that took the time to speak to us, they cared about their street, they cared about their neighborhood, they cared about opportunities for their children, they cared about people out on the street, possibly with homeless or addiction issues. I had suggestions and comments and questions. What can you do at City Hall to help us, whether it's with speeding or parking or homelessness? Other issues that take place, people care about their community is the overwhelming feeling conveyed. And it didn't matter whether you were a renter or whether you've been in your house for 50 years. People here in Welland care about their community. And so I am glad and grateful that I had the opportunity to go door to door. We missed that this past term of shortly early into 2020, and obviously the pandemic hit. And so meeting people at the concerts, meeting people at the market, meeting people at the mall, it didn't really happen. And so for a sizable chunk of this term, the sense of community or the relationship between a councillor and their constituents was taken away from us. So I'm grateful for the chance to get to see so many people face to face, and hopefully this term, more communication, more feedback between constituent and councillor will take place. So I'd like to thank the voters in Ward 5 for the opportunity to serve once again. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Green.
Yeah, thank you, through Mr. Mayor. I just want to recognize the family that I have here tonight. My wife, my wife Tina, newly promoted Director of Wellness at the retirement home that she works at. So very proud of her and very appreciative of her support and her opinions and guidance through difficult decisions that we make as a council. My daughter Malaya is here, who's often my sidekick at city events, who tags along and comes with me. My parents, Jan and Terry, are here tonight as well. My sister Jennifer. My in-laws were not able to be here due to some illness, so they're at home, but very much so appreciate the support of my family. It's an honor to have them walking side by side on the election campaign, knocking on doors with me. My parents crisscrossing Ward 4, delivering signs, so it's great to have the support of all of my family for the campaign. Do certainly appreciate the support of all the residents of Ward 4 for getting their trust for another term of council. Look forward to working with all members of council, returning and new members for the next 4 years, working with our mayor and our city staff to continuing to get stuff done and get back to work. So I'm excited for our first meeting tomorrow, and like I said, we'll get back to work. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Mayor Campion. I would just like to thank my lovely wife for full support over the last 33 years, Becky, and my sons James, Brandon, and David are also here. David with his partner Erica, and my campaign manager Vi Verbenak, who walked many kilometers for me. My daughter Mary Beth is in university at Wilfrid Laurier. She couldn't make it. And my sister, Sherry Hansen, was also wanting to come but couldn't make it. I really wish to thank the residents of Ward 6 for putting their faith in me, and I would like to move forward in a positive direction with Welland, and I look forward to working with all of council and especially Councillor Folkens, and we would get a positive direction for Welland. I would also like to thank my parents, who, God bless their souls, are not around anymore, but it's definitely been really thankful for the opportunity that I have here, and I've considered it a privilege to serve, and I can't thank everyone enough for giving me the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
So I just wanted to point something out that Councillor McLeod picked it up immediately, and so did Councillor Speck. What transpired was we had two sections in our agenda here, one to introduce guests and one to make comments. When we got to Councillor Richard, she combined them, and I decided at that moment I would not call her out of order at the inaugural meeting. So that's how we got to that. So in fairness, if council's okay, the people prior to Councillor Richard, if you did have a comment, that would be appropriate. Councillor Richard.
Campion, that certainly wasn't the end of my speech.
Oh, no, really? Well, I will open it to, if anyone here, just raise your hand if you wanted to make a further comment, otherwise we'll move on. Okay, so Councillor Moot, go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor Campion, and thanks to the councillors for pointing that out. I did introduce my family and my guests, but most importantly, I do want to thank the residents of Ward 1 and throughout the city. As mentioned, it is an honor to serve as a councillor, and I really look forward to 4 more years of doing this. Secondly, my friends and family, I've mentioned a number of them, but they're really a great sounding board. You got a lot of thoughts floating around in your head, and sometimes you just need to discuss it with some friendly faces. Most importantly, I'd like to really thank my wife, Melissa. She is patient and supportive. We all know these nights can be stressful, and she's my best advisor and fiercest critic, so thank you. And for my children who don't understand why I'm not around on Tuesday nights, hopefully one day they will, but I serve for a better future for them. So those are all my comments, but thank you all. So have a great night.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Folkens?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I would also like to thank the residents of Ward 6 for re-electing me and so that I can serve you. I'm looking forward to working with our new councillor, Jamie Lee, in Ward 6, and I'm looking forward to becoming a group again for the next 4 years and with our new councillor, Sharmella. I can't pronounce your last name yet, so and for staff, I'm looking forward for 4 years. Welland is going to be facing a lot of growth pains, and we are here for Welland to help guide through that with the support of staff. So thank you, Ward 6.
Good. Well, go ahead.
Thank you. I want to just start off by thanking my mom once again, because she was really on the streets with me as my campaign manager, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. And so just as you see her through our little reception, I just wanted to make sure I really gave a shout out to my mom for all her support. I want to thank the residents of Ward 3, and in particular, everyone who participated and engaged in the campaign and in the election, regardless of who you voted for. And I look forward to working closely with fellow Councillor Kiokio for all of our residents in Ward 3 and with entire council and staff for all of the city of Welland. I also want to thank my friends, co-workers, and mentors for their encouragement, mentorship, and support over the years. Without them, being there to help build leadership skills, to take chances and have that encouragement, it really does matter. And I want to give a shout out to one of our community leaders. There are many here that supported me, and I thank you, some of you are in the room, but to Tia DeGazio, and I may be saying her name incorrectly, but she reached out to me and said, hey, have you thought about running for council? And we know that it often takes 7 times for women to run. And so I want to thank her for sending that email to me and then following up. Because it does matter. So that's something that we can all do in terms of supporting more involvement in our electoral processes, and also for putting your name on the ballot. And lastly, I want to thank my fellow councillors and staff for the warm welcome that I've received over the past few weeks. And I very much look forward to working together over the next 4 years to continue to make the city of Welland a wonderful and beautiful place to call home. Thank you.
Thank you. It appears as though Councillor Richard has more to say. Before we go to that, I will go to Councillor Van Vliet. Had put his hand up before your hand went up. Councillor Van Vliet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to thank the residents of Ward 2 for, again, putting their faith in me. I'm humbled by the fact that I could win a third campaign there. But one thing I think, and I'm looking forward to working with all the councillors, not necessarily just Councillor McLeod. I want to work with all the councillors. But I go back to, I just spent a week up north with my 5-year-old granddaughter, and one of her sayings is, a real team is not a dream. It can be accomplished. That's words of a 5-year-old. And I think when a 5-year-old starts talking like that, that certainly sends a message out to us as adults that we can work as a team. I know there are times that we have differences of opinion. A real team has differences of opinion. But I think if we work as a team, I think we can get a whole lot accomplished in this term, and I'm certainly looking forward to working with every one of you. Bear in mind that at the end of the month, or the end of 2 weeks, when your check comes to you, just bear in mind that that check comes from the City of Welland. It doesn't come from your particular ward, it comes from the City of Welland. So subsequently, if you get a call from another ward, from somebody in another ward, take note, you're responsible for them as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. So just before you begin, Councillor Richard, should I go to Councillor Speck to see if he wants to extend the meeting past curfew, or go ahead?
Thank you for this second opportunity, Mayor Campion. The one line just didn't seem nearly enough. I was prepared to do a little bit of a speech for this as well. Again, I would like to seriously thank all the friends, residents, and certainly a family that supported and trusted me to act as their representative. It is humbling for sure. As councillor, I'm also looking forward to the next 4 years. The last 4 years have been very busy and challenging with our COVID conditions, our many builds, industry locating here, jobs, and the dedication of a record amount of monies being dedicated to our failing infrastructure. Yes, we are certainly growing, and we needed growth. I have a little bit of a candy here. After our huge loss of industry, I anticipate there will be much more positive from Welland in the years to come. I strongly feel working together with staff, council, and certainly listening to our residents, we can accomplish so much more. Full transparency of finance and projects, promoting a team environment, and ensuring communication between all parties. It's to certainly include our residents. These are the keys to our city's future successes. I am looking forward to representing our residents of Ward 5 and our city by engaging in all of the above. Thank you once again for your faith and trust in me as your representative in Ward 5 and making it all happen. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we will now move on, and I'm going to call upon CAO Steve Zorbas to say a few words and introduce some staff members.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, as CEO, I want to welcome the new council. We will have a very busy 4 years. On that note, I also want to thank the outgoing members of council, former Councillor Jimmy LaRousse and Councillors Mastroeni. It was a pleasure working with them. So I'm going to start to introduce the corporate leadership team to everyone here in the audience. The first one, Sherry Marie Millar, our Director of Infrastructure Services, City Engineer. She's under the weather, but she couldn't be here tonight. Next is Grant Monday. If I could ask Grant to stand. He's our Director of Planning and of Development Services and City Planner. We have in the back Mark McDonald, our Corporate Communications Manager. Mark, if you want to stand. We have Stephen Fairweather. He's our CFO, Director of Finance. And to my left, we have Rob Akshik, our Director of Community Services. And we have our Fire Chief here, Adam Eckhart. Also, we do have our City Clerk here, Tara Stevens. So some brief remarks. Our goal is to work with this council to continue to make the city of Welland a great city to live, work, play, and invest. We will continue to work with you. Over the next 10 years, there are 25,000 new residents come to the city, 12,500 new residential units. And the good news is 3 million new square feet of commercial industrial space and almost 1,500 new jobs coming to the city. Why Welland? Welland is a great city, and our job is to work with you in a cooperative manner to move forward. No question, we'll have some disagreements, have business discussions, but it's going to be exciting times for the city. And actually, the rubber hits the road tomorrow night. We start business tomorrow night. I think what you're going to see, I'll let you know, the theme for the 2023 budget process is one team, one Welland. We look forward to working with you in that regards. I'll stop there, Mr. Mayor, but again, we look forward to working with all of you. It's all about relationships, and it's exciting times for us.
Thank you, Mr. Zorbas. We do have one more motion that I'm going to look for support. So I'm looking for a mover and seconder for the first, second, and third reading of the confirmatory bylaw. Moved by Councillor Richard, seconded by Councillor Folkens. Please raise your hand if you're in favor. That motion's carried. There being no further business, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your being attentive to all of our speakers, and thank you for coming out to help us celebrate this. There's a reception downstairs following this, so we're going to get councillors out first, and then you can get yourselves out of here as well.